Good morning. It's September 18th. I am Dr. Nelson Garayas. This is Anatomy Physiology 1, Laboratory Session 2. The agenda for today, we're going to go over the types of muscles, and there's three types, skeletal, visceral, and cardiac. You will also need to know what they look like and be able to identify them. Blood typing, I'll have a quick mini lecture, and then you can practice. And again, since no one is here, this by all means does not mean you will get a grade for this missed opportunity, but at least you'll get the material. So I'm going to go over the blood typing again, and if you go on the website, which will be posted on Moodle, make sure to practice that over the weekend, because all these items, 20-item multiple choice quiz, next class session will be next Monday. And then, again, it will not count as your laboratory practical. And last but not least, since the class was absent during when we were supposed to have our lymph tissue lecture, I will also go over that on this video as well. And again, this will be very, very basic. You still have to read, you still have to look into some of the exercises and some of the pages that you're responsible for, and that will be on Moodle. Okay, the types of muscles, and there are three types. Let's bring up a chart. See that too. One, and identification, and also the actual pictures, which are also available in your laboratory here. I'll scan them and also put them in. So you have skeletal, cardiac, and smooth. And the first thing that you have to understand is that let's just look at these. This is too specific. Let us look at some basics first. Skeletal, of course, is attached to bone. Okay. Cardiac is, of course, the walls of the heart, and we've already saw the middle layer, the myocardium. That's cardiac muscle, and then smooth muscle is anything that is in, mostly in your gastrointestinal tract, and that's why they have a nice picture here of a little piece of your esophagus and your stomach and your duodenum there. So when you think about it, who do you have control over? You have direct control over your skeletal muscles. That means it is conscious. You're thinking about it. When I want to lift up that weight, I think about it and I do it. Now, cardiac and smooth muscle, they are they're part and parcel of your autonomic nervous system. Remember, auto meaning self. It is self-governed. You don't think about it. You can't really control you can't control your heartbeat to an extent, nor can you control how you digest food. So that's cardiac and smooth muscle. And notice that smooth also can be also called visceral. Now, another term for skeletal muscle is striated. And you can see, because they got all these little stripes on them. Okay? Cardiac kind of look like this. And again, I'll also have the pictures of your actual slides. And again, you will be responsible for identifying them. And lastly, you have smooth, because they call it smooth because you can see here on the skeletal there's a lot of striations or stripes, and here on the smooth you don't see that. Okay. Another thing on that's really characteristic about your cardiac is these little lines here. that's a dead giveaway that those are intercalated discs. Okay, and you can check in your notes on what is the function of an intercalated disc. So when you look at it, and my suggestion is not to really look at the colors. You want to try to find features. So for example, for skeletal muscle, striations. For the cardiac, you're looking for these intercalated discs, these little lines here. And of course, for smooth muscle, you're looking for no striations. Okay? Another thing that you'll also notice on the cardiac is the cells. You see these cells? They tend to branch out. Both the cardiac and the skeletal, they're multinucleated. See these nuclei? Remember the center of the cell? But if you look at the smooth, the shape is kind of, it's called fusiform, and they only have a single nucleus. So what kind of questions could I ask? I could show the picture, you identify it. I could ask you, which of the following are multinucleated? You'll answer skeletal, cardiac. I could ask, which one only has one nucleus per cell? Which one is fusiform with no striations? And that's smooth. So be able to identify them via the description, via body location or where they are, and also from this picture. Okay? And that was the first section of our laboratory. We were to compare and contrast. All right. Let us now look at this is the blood typing game, and again, it'll be available on Moodle as well. And I do suggest that you play the game. But before playing the game, let's go over a little lecture on what it does. On blood typing. I specifically took the blood typing. Turn the sound off because I find it creepy. Okay. Go through a quick game. Now, you just pick a patient. Now, we're not going to go through the blood banking, but I'll go through the game after we did this quick mini lecture. Now we remember that we had blood, and the blood we went through the formed elements, and the formed elements of blood are the red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. The red blood cells has hemoglobin; they carry items, and the white blood cells are defenders against bacteria, foreign body, viruses, and the platelets, of course, their function is for clotting. Well, this is the ABO blood typing system. Okay? You either can be type A, type B, type AB, and type O. Now, and here's a nice picture of the red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and of course plasma is the liquid portion of it. Okay? And within this website, this lecture is fully contained, and it does mimic the lecture that we already had. Now here are all the potential blood types. Now I want you to start looking at the blood types as two parts, as the ABO type system and then the RH system. RH stands for rhesus. It's based on research on rhesus monkeys, and that's why they call it the RH model. But I want you to look at things in two ways. So, as first of all, for example, this blood type A negative, I want you to look at it as A, that's the ABO system, and then as part of the RH system. And in the RH system, that's where the negative and positive comes from your blood type. So for example, this particular patient is what? A negative. And then they have a list of all the antibodies and RH antibodies, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. Okay? So there's 8 possible choices. You have A positive, A negative, B positive, B negative, AB positive, AB negative, O positive, and O negative. And remember, start thinking of it as in 2 systems: ABO system and an RH system. If you look here, red blood cells. First I have to define what's an antigen versus an antibody. An antigen is a glycoprotein, a coating. It's like a jacket. It defines what, like who the cell is. For example, my analogy that I have it is like, you know how some gangs have their different colors. I'm talking about street gangs have different colors. Well, antibodies and antigens. Now, what is an antigen? Antigen is the jacket. It's the thing that starts the trouble. So, for people who have A blood type, what kind of antigen do they have? They have A antigen. They have a glycoprotein coating. Glyco is sugar. So it's a coating made out of sugar and proteins right on the red blood cell that defines who they are, and it's A type. And type A's also have antibodies. Now antibodies are things that fight foreign things, foreign body, foreign infection, and that's the reason why you can't mix A, it goes A blood with B blood, because if I mix B blood with A blood, guess what the B antibody is going to do? It's going to attack all the B antigens. It will attack all the red blood cells coming from the donor. So this is a prime example of what's inside in type A person. Now, let's go to somebody who is, and remember, let's just concentrate right now on the ABO system. We're going to talk about the RH separately, but it's the same idea. Let's look at somebody who has type B blood. If someone has type B blood, look what they have. They have a jacket that says, I'm a B. I'm a type B blood. But what do they also have? They have A antibodies. And for this reason, you can't give a type A blood to a B recipient. So let's say this patient here has B blood. I give them A. Guess what's going to attack them? A antibody. So the antibody does the attacking. The antigen is the coating on the red blood cell that that sparks the immune reaction. And on patients with type B blood in the ABO system, they have B antigens. So I could ask you a question. My patient has type A blood. What kind of antigens do they have? A. If my patient has B blood, what kind of antigens do they have on their red blood cell? B. And let's look at somebody who has AB. Someone who has AB has both. Has not only B antigen, they also have A antigen. So they have both jackets. And a person who has type O blood, do they have any antibodies? No. They have no antibodies on the red blood cell. And for that reason, if they have no jacket, they have nothing to spark any immune reaction. That is why type O are universal donors. Okay? All right, and that's the ABO blood typing system. Now let's look at these same pictures and let's look at RH. RH factors or RH typing is extremely important, especially with obstetrics, because of hemolytic disease of the newborn. It's when mommy has RH negative blood. and then baby has Rh positive. So guess what? It goes, mommy's blood will start attacking baby's blood, and we don't want that. But let's just look at it on the simple level. So if my patient has Rh negative, if my patient has blood type Rh negative, that means they don't have any Rh antigen. But what will they have? They will have things that attack Rh blood. So if my mommy is Rh negative, as in this patient, what will she have? She'll have Rh antibodies. She will attack anything with Rh, which is not a good thing for the baby if they're Rh positive. Let's look at a patient with Rh positive blood. Rh positive has what? Rh antigen. So let's look at this example of a person who is A positive, or A with Rh positive blood. They will have what kind of antigens? They will have A antigen, of course, because they're type A. And what will they have? Since they're Rh positive, they will have Rh antigens. Okay? Let's go to another example. So with Rh positive and negative, if the patient is Rh positive, guess what? They will have Rh antigens. If they are Rh negative, they will have Rh antibodies. Okay? And we're going to go, and this particular page at nobelprize.org has all the combinations. Okay? So you can go through that. So what would you be responsible for? So I can give you an example. My patient has AB negative blood. Remember the two systems, AB and negative. So I could ask you, what kind of antigens does my patient have? Since they're blood type AB, they will both have A antigen and B antigen. Good. They're Rh negative. Will they have an Rh antigen? No. But what will they have? Since they're Rh negative, they'll have an Rh antibody. Okay? Here's another example. My patient is O neg or O negative. Okay? Since my patient is type O, they should not have any ABO antigens. Do we see any? No. They're Rh negative. That means this particular patient has no Rh antibodies. Do we see any? I mean, no Rh antigen, no Rh jacket. We don't. But so what do they have? They'll have a whole bunch of antibodies. They'll have A antibody, Rh antibody, and B antibody. Beautiful, all of the above question. Now again, I really wish all of you were in lab. We would have multiple times to practice this, because you could see that with all these combinations, it gets a little bit confusing. But work, read through this part, and another thing you can also do is look up a chart, I really don't suggest memorizing the chart, but understanding what an antigen and an antibody is. And remember, antigen is the jacket or a coating on the red blood cell. The antibody is the thing that attacks. So for example, if I have an A jacket, if I have A antigen, that means what will I attack? I will attack everything else. I will attack all the B's. If I have a B jacket, I should have antibodies that will attack who? The A's. If I have an AB jacket, that means because I have both jackets and I'm attacking nobody. If I have type O, I don't have any jackets, but I'll be attacking everyone. Okay? So on that note, kindly look over that, because again, it's a little bit on the confusing side, but if you read it all out, and then maybe if you come a little bit early on Monday, I could give a little primer to anyone who would like, or you could text me or email me over the weekend, and I'll give you some more examples. Okay. Now that is, now let's go to how do you determine someone's blood type. So the way the exams will go is, first of all, you will be given on any picture, on any laboratory, and we were also going to do this in the laboratory. And again, I implore everybody, please don't skip labs, because reading and actually doing it are two entirely different things. And I just wish you guys the best of luck on Monday. All right? And please make sure to read this stuff. Now, you'll be given 3 tubes. Tube A, Tube B, Tube RH. In the real world, you're given this little plate with these little wells, and there will be 3 sections: A, B, and RH. Then you'll put reagents in it, and then when you put these reagents have antibodies. So another question I could ask you is, what's in the A tube? And you'll see little antibodies there. That's A antibody. What's in the B tube? B antibody. And what's in the RH tube? RH antibodies. Okay? Now, that's the first part. You grab up the tubes. The next part is, then you put the blood in each of the tubes. And the thing that you're going to be looking for is agglutination. Now, what is agglutination? It's clumping. Agglutination signals that there is an immune response. That means the antibodies that are in these 3 wells are reacting to something. So here's an example. Tube A has no agglutination. The blood and the antibody reagent just mixed, so there's no reaction in here. RH, same thing, no reaction. But if you'll see in well B, there's clumping. There's a fight going on. There's an immune response. So what does that mean? There were originally A antibodies in this tube. Since there's no reaction, that means there are no A antigens. There were originally RH antibodies in this tube. There's no reaction, that means there are no RH antigens present. But guess what? There's a reaction here. That means my patient is type B blood. Again, look at it at 2 levels. And since there was no reaction here, there's no antigens here, therefore my patient is B negative. Okay? And here's a further explanation of what's going on. Because this is what's going on right now in Tube B. Tube B was originally full of these B antibodies. And then I have a patient who has B antibodies present. So that antibody will attack this B antigen, and guess what? There'll be clumping, there'll be a reaction, and that's where you get the agglutination. And it's the same idea for the RH. The RH, since there was no reaction, therefore it's what? RH negative. So, right here, the blood type of my patient is what? B positive. I'm sorry, my bad. B negative, scratch that. Because there's no reaction here, and there's reaction, and there's reaction there. Okay? So what kind of questions I could ask? Which of the following tubes has agglutination? We'll answer tube B. Which of the following tubes has no reaction? A and RH. And of course, the ultimate question, what is the blood type for this patient? B negative, or B negative. In tube A, what antibodies are present? Of course, A antibodies. Then it goes in B, B antibodies. In RH, RH antibodies. And in this particular case, since there's no reaction, are there any A antigen? No. Are there any RH antigen? No. But are there B antigens? Yes. Therefore, this patient is B negative. Okay? And that's how you do blood type. So let us, when you play the game, then you click on proceed, left click, select the patient, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, I like that guy, and then we'll go to blood type. So drag and drop the syringe on the patient's arm. So I got to go get some blood, and I got the blood. Then I got to put the blood in each of the tubes. And then of course, shake it. shake it. And you shake it. Before we answer any question, we have, remember, it's even helping us. First we have to figure out the ABO system. And remember, the ABO system is what? Just the A and B tubes. So is there any reaction in A? No. Is there a reaction or agglutination or clumping in B? Yes. So there's B antibodies in the original tube, and when we added the blood, that means there's B antigen present. So my patient's blood type is B. So let's click on B, let's see if we're right. All right, wonderful. We're right so far. Now, RH. Is there a reaction? Yes. There's clumping, there's agglutination. So if there's a reaction, that means there's what? There are RH antigens present. If there's RH antigens present, then that has to be RH positive. So my patient's blood type is B positive. And I am bloody right. Okay? Go through this game several times. Go through several patients several times. Let's try another one. We're not going to do blood transfusions. So you can just go back and then. But you can, you can play around with blood transfusions, but I'm just more interested than in you getting this down. Okay. All right, then I should grab and put it in the tube. Oh, when you click on the tube, it tells you what's in it. So I click on this tube, what's in it? B antibody. I put my blood in there, shake it. What's in this tube? RH antibody, of course. Oops. Okay. And it shakes it. Alrighty. So, again, we look at AB first. Is there a reaction in A? Yes. There's clumping, there's agglutination. Is there a reaction in B? Nope. So there's got to be A antigen present. So the blood type, the ABO blood type of that particular patient is A. Now, do I have clumping in RH? Yes, I do. There's clumping, there's agglutination here. That means there is RH antigen present. If RH antigen is present, then my patient is positive for RH. So overall, my patient's blood type is RH positive, or A-pos, and I am bloody right. Okay? That is blood typing. Please go over that. There will be a significant amount of questions on that, not only for your final, but definitely for this quiz on Monday. Alrighty. And again, really wish you guys were here doing it in laboratory, doing it on real blood, doing it, also doing this on the screen here all together as a group. Would have been very different. Last but very least, so that's blood typing. Let's look at our agenda for today. So, you have type of muscles, blood typing, lecture exercises, and last but not least, we will do our lymph tissue lecture momentarily. Right? Thank you.